What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to our channel. We are your hosts, the Distorted Theorists, and today we're here with a very special guest, Peter, here at Sci-Fi on the Rock 2026.
No, I'm not the guest. Michael is.
Hi guys. What's your name?
Justin.
Hey Justin.
They call me the real Jussy on camera, but you can call me Justin.
They do.
Is that like a sexy thing or something?
It's just people call my friends call me Jussy. If we're friends, you can call me Jussy.
What do you mean by friends? Like
Anybody.
Me.
Anybody.
That's about it.
friends or
No, friends.
friends? Okay.
Okay.
I got nothing against this. What's your name?
Peter.
Peter. Like Peter?
Yeah. Straight up. Like
Hi, I'm Michael. I'm running on about 7 hours sleep. Just flew 24 hours to get here.
Yes. Yes,
but
you were.
we're glad that you did. You suffered. We're
Yes,
glad
I'm,
you suffered for
I'm
the art.
silly enough to do this with you gentlemen.
No.
Without a script.
Well, that's so. Having said that, our tagline on the channel is "Keep it real." Now we spell it like a movie "real," but it's a play on words because we always keep it real. So no hard. We keep it loose.
How much do they know about you guys?
The people watching. Well, we have 16,500 subscribers that enjoy our content.
Do you know he wears women's underwear backwards?
Wow. Wow, I'm getting roasted on my own channel, but you know what? It's okay.
That's what happens. when you-
Non-pattern. He told me just before we went on camera. He said, "You ever tried women's underwear backwards?
They're silky, okay?
What an icebreaker. That was great. Yeah,
You ever made
really.
tea from them?"
And what?
Never mind.
No? This might be the funnest interview we've ever
That
done
was
here at
great.
Sci-Fi.
I
Take
just,
this.
I'm silly today, guys.
What? No, listen.
I'll take
I've got sleep deprivation.
Well, listen, I got in from Vegas yesterday at 12:30, so that was also
12:30
12
last
hours.
night?
Yesterday morning, dinner time.
We got in last night just around 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I heard you got delayed.
Oh shit!
But
24 hours to travel.
We were sending some prayers that you would get in on time. That was the main goal.
Was that right?
Yeah. But Peter,
Who did you pray to?
I would say the Lord God.
Which one?
See.
Let's not get into that. No politics, no religion.
So, Michael, what we do on this channel as well, we do like trailer reactions, we do movie reviews. Justin and I, we've been big movie fans for the majority of our lives and everything like that. So I won't lie.
Have you seen? I just saw it last week. The oh God, what's it called? I'm not Moonshot or
There was Moonshot that
not
had,
Moonshot. It's about sending the guy to the sun.
Project Hail Mary. That's the
Yeah,
new
him.
one.
Have you seen it?
Bam.
You're talking to him now.
Oh, what? Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. You're both together.
Yeah, no, I never seen it though. He was a
Oh
big
my
fan.
God, what a good film! If you haven't
Oh.
seen it, go see it. It's really wonderful. I mean, the setup is wonderful. The lead characters you can identify with. There's a certain amount of, I think, without putting a finger on it, about racial profiling and about commonality of experience and working together, no matter who you are or what you are. It's just an incredibly tight, well-balanced.
It was when I was in the theater watching it because Justin didn't want to go see it. But it was one of those films that I knew it was going to be good because I had seen bits and pieces of it and the trailer was already captivating, which is hard enough these days because trailers can be misleading. But Ryan Gosling has, in the last little while, has been building more and more of a rapport.
Yeah, it's almost like his emotional paint box has expanded
Yes,
somehow in the
very
last
much
4 or
so.
5 years.
That's a good
Just-
terminology.
It's just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful performance.
And then Rocky. I wasn't expecting to feel as much as I did about a Rocky.
Well, don't give too much away. It's really look at I don't get behind something unless I really care about it. And
Yeah.
I think it's got something. It's one of those movies. Like a good movie to me is like goes from the author's mind into the medium, whether it's film or television, into the audience's mind with the least amount of distortion. And the original intent of that story, the original intent of that story of sort of making the world a better place.
Yes.
And doing it with art and being it in entertainment and stuff like that. It's just wonderful. It's
I
really
know.
a wonderful, good job.
I came out of that movie, like, obviously I enjoyed the movie, but I came out feeling good. It was just one of those ones like I just had left me with a good feeling over
And the crowd, I usually gauge a film by the crowd when they leave, you know, how they're talking and stuff. And there was that kind of familial, tribal feeling when you were leaving the theater. And it was half full. It was hardly, the theater was about half full. We saw it on an afternoon show. But I highly recommend it.
Oh, fantastic movie.
What's the name again?
Peter.
No,
Oh,
the movie.
Sorry, Project
Hail Mary. The Hail Mary shot,
Yeah.
You're Peter.
I am. Yeah.
We've established 100% that you are Peter.
Thanks, Justin.
Have you met Peter?
I have many a times, unfortunately.
Okay.
But it was actually refreshing to hear somebody that we're able to interview and actually talk about the movies in terms of that, because, well, for me, when they announced that you were going to be coming to Sci-Fi on the Rock, I got very excited because I'm familiar with a lot of the roles that you've been a part of, like from Terminator Salvation, obviously Starship Troopers, because you're here with Casper as well. My wife and I were watching ER a little while back, and Wild Willie, and it was like,
You were watching what?
ER.
Oh, yeah.
Wild Willie.
Dr. Swift.
Swift.
Wild Willie Swift, yeah.
And I was watching Total Recall.
Look
the
at
other
Noah
day,
Barrett. Look what Noah Wiles has done.
and that was the thing.
Since from that first season, so I knew him from that first season. Wonderful. I mean, he was the lowest. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. Fuck it. He was the lowest.
exactly.
I think he was the lowest paid actor on that out of that ensemble.
Yeah.
And stuck it out, and he's just turned into this exquisite storyteller, you know, and performs stuff. And Noah, if you see this, why the fuck haven't you hired me? But
That's my next question.
Okay.
I was going to
Okay.
say, have you been, because there was rumored, so for anyone who's been watching the pit, I won't spoil the ending of season 2, but there's a shot at the very end that has someone who looks a lot like Anthony Edwards, and people are saying, oh, that's Anthony Edwards, he's going to reprise, he won't be his character, obviously, from ER, I'm not going to spoil that, but they're saying, oh, maybe he'll have a role, and then they're going to bring it together, and they talked about, well, we bring George Clooney, that he would love to do it. So that was my thing. I was going to ask to see if you would approach it, and I guess that's my answer.
I don't
right
know.
there.
I have no idea. You know, my way of doing things is basically choose the best of what's offered, take it, commit to it, you know, support it in any way you can, and then move on. It's like next.
Next go one from one job.
Look
to the
at
next.
stars get films made.
Yeah.
Right. Like George is now a star. George can get a film made. George Clooney.
Yeah.
Now Noah's quickly becoming a star. I mean, a household name. But I'm not. A star is like the steak from a steak dinner, or the chicken in a chicken dinner, right?
From the
I'm a
diggings.
garnish. I'm like asparagus or potatoes or carrots. You can't.
Don't compare yourself.
No,
to
hold
potato.
on. I'm
No,
not being
there's some pretty
disrespectful.
good
I am not being
garnishes.
disrespectful. You have a steak dinner. Who wants to eat a bloody steak by itself? You gotta have
You got it.
asparagus
Right.
with it, or
True.
mushrooms, or something. I'm the shit that comes with the mushroom,
Yeah.
with the steak. But and
So,
there's-
well, you know what? Today I feel like we're the garnish and you're the steak because you're with us. Well, we're just on the sides of you.
I've broken my back a few times, and we're trying to make this bloody chair work. I think we did it.
Okay.
Here we
I
go.
like it. So yeah, so we're the garnish today. We have our steak. I'm the potato. You're the asparagus.
Thanks.
We're making a great video.
Thanks for
This has already gone
Of
way.
all the vegetables, you want to be a potato.
Well, I mean, look at me.
Take that.
Do I
out.
look?
Let me see. You're a potato.
I know.
Bloody potato.
I actually got this haircut.
You're
No,
what?
I'm just
Celery?
kidding.
Well, he said asparagus, so I guess that's.
I don't know. They make your pea stinks. I mean,
You heard it here first, folks.
probably make your pea stink.
That's me.
But,
So across that, so again, when we're talking about like your legacy and your career across everything.
Legacy?
We're talking,
is it over?
No.
Do you know something I don't know?
Well, I'm waiting for Noah to call you, and then at least everything can start up again.
My whole career is based on Noah Wiles calling me. And I got home that night at midnight, 12:15. Kitchen lights on, and my dad's there. And I'm like, oh, Jesus.
This can't be good.
He says, come on in. And I went, Dad, I don't know why these men are here. I didn't do anything. And he says, no, sit down. I said, honest, I don't, were they police? He says, no, they were reporters. And I went, why? And he says, who's this Judy Millen woman? And I said, well, she's this student teacher at high school. So he said, well, she entered some play you wrote and it won first prize.
Oh wow.
Wow.
But the problem is it's a university prize,
Yeah.
and you're not in university. You're in grade, at that time I was in grade 10. I failed grade 9, 10, 11, 9, 10, and 12 because of work. You work 8-hour shifts.
Yeah.
But 11 I didn't work that year, and I actually did real well. But I said, I don't know anything about it. He says, well, evidently there's a big controversy over it because it was a university level contest.
Right.
you won first prize, and the guys that come in second and third are complaining that you shouldn't have been in the contest because you're not in the university. And one's from British Columbia, and the other one's from somewhere in the Maritimes. And I went, well, he says, Michael, he says, I think it was either $6,700 or $5,700 was the first prize.
Wow.
Plus, I could get the play produced at a theater by a 30 company, and I had lifetime entrance or admission to Hart House Theatre at University of Toronto. And my dad said, wouldn't you like to see your play done on a stage? And I went, I guess, yeah. I was really shocked by all this. He says, well, what if you let them have the money? Why don't you let them have the money? And you take the other two, because it sounds like it's kind of, he's a working class guy, with a grade 3 education, very well read though. And I said, do you think that? He says, yeah, I think that would be a solution. So he says, go get cleaned up. So I got ready for bed, and he wrote up a letter, and he says, here, sign this, and he sent it off, and they agreed to it.
Wow.
So those guys got the money, and they split it between two, and I got to have this play called The Shelter. I got to see it, and the company I chose was a place called the Factory Lab Theater over a car wash at DuPont, up in DuPont and Avenue Road near there. And I could have had pretty much any theater company, but a girl had taken me to a play there that I really liked her, and so I chose that theater. And that play got published, and it got run. Didn't do very well. It did okay. And then I wrote another one next year called East of the River, being east of Toronto, the Don River. And it opened up with it's a long story, but the opening line is, if Christ had been born in the East End, there'd be no Christianity, because walking on water is easy. You just jump from turd to turd and get to Riverdale Park. And it is kind of a monologue that the guy turns into his life. He talks about his life, and it takes place behind him all the time through the play. It did real well. It ran for about 8 months. National Film Board heard about this, and they were putting together a workshop of writers, directors, and actors, and I got invited to be part of this workshop. That and another small thing I had done, run by a woman named Janine Mattis. I went down and studied there 24 hours of classes, 5 for 5 years. I went in as a writer, director, and came out as an actor.
Wow.
And I came out, she was doing a play called Look Back in Anger by John Osborne. She wanted me to play Porter, and it was going to be done. And I had never read the play, and she said, I don't want anyone to read the play. She took all the direction, it was just the dialogue, her way of working. It was her version of the method. She was one of 3 people that you had to get past her, Elia Kazan, and Penn to get to see Strasberg, to get into the actor's studio. She'd won a couple of Tonys, came to Canada to have a child, and never went back to the States. And she taught her version of the method, and I got it for until she passed away, actually, a couple of years ago. But for 5 years solid, this workshop. And she said to me one day, she says, I'm doing this play called Look Back in Anger. Do you know it? I said, no, I don't know it. She goes, don't read it, and I want you to play Porter, one of these lead characters. She printed up, and she cast out of the workshop. We rehearsed it for about 4 weeks, didn't make it a priority. She said, we're going to shoot it tomorrow night, live to camera at CBC. And I went, what? And we used the King of Kensington set for the Porter, and we shot it, and it was live to camera. And the next day, I got a call. I'm in the workshop, hanging lights for something I was going to act in that night. It was right on Adelaide and Church, second floor of the National Film Board. We had the floor, and we use it as a workshop. And she comes in and she goes, she's to answer the phones and stuff like that. If anyone calls, I got to go do something. I said, okay. The phone rings, and they said, we're looking for Michael Ironside. And I said, oh yeah, that's me. And they said, this is Laurie Rodenberg. And I said, no, he was an agent, right?
Okay.
One of maybe 4 top agents in Canada.
And did you know their name at the time?
I knew his name. I said,
Okay.
you're Laurie Rodenberg. He says, yeah. I said, what do you want with me? And he says, have you got representation? I said, yeah, I got so-and-so. And he said, that's for writing. I said, yeah, what do you do? He says, I represent actors and writing. I said, who the fuck is this? And he says, it's Laurie Rodenberg. I said, Brian, is this you? Are you fucking with me? And I went, fuck you, and I hung up.
No.
And I went back and I was hanging lights, and about half an hour later, Jeannie comes in and says, come in here. I go in and sit in her office, I'm sitting there, and and she goes, shut up. was my teacher, wonderful woman, Janine Manessa. And she said, "Did you just hang up on Laurie Rodenberg?" And I went, "Oh, that was really him." And she goes, "Yeah." "Why did you do that?" I said, he was talking to me about being an actor. I'm not. I'm a writer, director. You know. She goes, "Michael, what do you think I've been teaching you for the last 3 years?" At that time, and I
Started
went,
to sink in, man.
I don't know. And she goes, "All right, here's his number. Maybe call him back." And here's the kicker. That night, I went to see Fat City at the Cinema Lumiere. It was running, and I went with my brother-in-law, Marty. And we went in. If you've never seen Fat City, it's Stacy Keach, and it's a John Huston film about a washed-up boxer doing a comeback in Sacramento, California, but alcoholism and all this. And I go in and see it, and there's a scene in it where with Susan Tyrrell in this bar, and they're both hammered out of their minds, and he wants to impress her, and he goes over and puts a quarter in the jukebox, and he says, "You can count on me." And she goes, "What?" At the bar, and he goes, whump, and smacks his head on the jukebox. And he says, "You can count on me." And she goes, "What are you doing?" He goes, "You can count on me." And he smacks his head on the jukebox, cracks his head open, and she comes over and goes, "Oh, you silly fuck, oh, I love you." And they go wandering out onto the street in these beautiful long shot by Houston and the heat waves of Sacramento. And I was sitting there going, that's kind of interesting. I don't know if I would have done it that way. And it hit me when I get chills every time I think about it. I went, I'm not, and I vomited all over the theater in the floor. I had to get out there, and I went running out of the theater, and Marty comes running up behind me. He says, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" I said, I don't think I'm an actor. I don't know. And he says, "I'm not going back in. We're going to go and watch it from the beginning again, because I'm not." And I went into Janine the next day, and I said, "I'm an actor?" And she goes, "Yes." And that was the beginning. She cast me in a small part in something she was directing. And then another thing, and Laurie got me work, and I signed with Laurie Rodenberg. And that was 330 some odd films ago, and 2,000 hours of television.
Well, I mean, one of the things that we do.
That's a long story. I apologize.
No, but that was a great story.
But you know what? To segue, if we, I guess maybe a little more direct, is me and Peter. You know, you're in a lot of films that we personally enjoyed, and I think that's where Peter was going earlier. If we may have a moment of your time, we would love to, I guess, ask you about some of those roles that, you know, you've been in and how you felt being on set with those roles. And
I just looked at somebody going by in a cat uniform, dressed, and their tail's bobbing. It's on a power switch or something. Look.
People come up with amazing things there.
Horny cat.
But yeah, like so across like Total Recall, and now I haven't seen it, but it's always one of those ones like, have you seen Scanners? I'm like, not yet.
David,
but it's there's so many roles, and then I've seen like your characters pop up with so much, and it's such a recognizable character because your voice is so recognized. Like Richter, I know your voice when I hear it. Like if Ashley's watching something in a different room and you show up, I know that it's Michael Ironside in it through Terminator and ER and whatever, through all that stuff. And I've noticed that like when I was going through the list of a lot of your characters, there's so many like Captain, General. Was that something like those kind of like the militarized roles that was drawn to you, or were they made for you, or is that kind of?
Again, my criteria is choose the best of what's offered you. And I was very fortunate through the mid-'80s to get a lot of great offers and work and stuff. And as far as my voice, I don't know if my voice is so characteristic, but the way I was taught as an actor, if something's organically and emotionally grounded, it has a resonance. You know what I mean? It's not coming from here. It's basically coming from the whole instrument. And I don't want to jerk you guys off by talking about the method and stuff like that. I was taught a certain version of the method by Janine. Never make your work process somebody else's problem. Always have your work ready when you come to work. Most of my characters are built before I get to the set. You know, I actually wear, some of the characters I played are so outrageously fucked up, pardon my language, that I throw a raincoat, a kind of an emotional raincoat over it, kind of use the friendly guy so I don't walk around in character all the time.
Right.
And my daughter, who's AD'd on films that I was acting in, she calls him Binky. Like, you know, a kid sucker.
Oh, like that.
She says he's playing, like, you know, I'm playing this mad, crazy guy. But you talk to, and it's just Binky. You know, when you're off camera, they call cut and Binky comes back. And I was doing an interview once. I've told this story before. I was doing an interview once. I'm filming Adrian, my oldest, was second AD or third AD on it. And she come over and I was doing this interview on camera years ago. And she said, Mr. Ironside, you've got about 5 minutes, then you've got to be back on camera. And I said, that's my daughter. She's third AD. And they said, and I remember the question, they said, if the world was to end tomorrow or this afternoon and everything crumbled down and you survived, what would you do? I said, I don't know, maybe a writer or a painter. Or, I don't know. And then Adrian says, Mr. Ironside, you're needed on set. And I went, I gotta go. And as I stepped off, I was taking the mic off, she turned around and looked at the camera and she said, do you mind if I say something? I'm his daughter. And they said yes. And she goes, if the world was to, a bomb was to go off tomorrow and all the concrete and everything had collapsed, and my father survived, he would get up out of the rubble, dust himself off, and walk towards the nearest camera.
Yeah.
That's my father. You're just talking to Pinky. He's not, my father is not present. Yeah. He's got to go to work. And I thought about it. She's absolutely right. Yeah. She's absolutely right. For me, the life experience, and I don't want to get too esoteric here, and pardon for the jerk-ups. I don't want to two-handed.
Not on my bingo card, but I'll take it.
Yeah. It's kind of Trumpian, isn't it? But acting for me is almost like therapy. It is therapy.
Okay.
It's taking life experiences, putting them under a situation and trying to bring it to life. Like my analogy for it is like scripts are like pieces of stained glass, right? The colors are already there. There's the structure's already there. The director makes a choice of how he's going to expose or show the stained glass to the audience. Either all of it or come around in pieces. And our jobs as actors, in my opinion, is to be the light underneath it. As pure light as possible. You know, and the director usually says faster, slower, brighter, softer. If they know what they're doing, you know. And sometimes even when they don't know what they're doing. And so I don't really... I don't create those characters and do all that stuff you're talking about and modulate that stuff. I just try and make something real, make it organically real. Like I played a lot of strange monster type human beings, and I don't believe monsters are born. I believe they're made. You know.
Right. Yeah.
And
you mentioned that earlier.
So if I can organically go back in this character's life and see where some of the colors were pulled out of his spectrum that gave us that thing, like in Visiting Hours. Cold Hawker. I don't ever want to play a character like that. I had a problem with him. I didn't know how to shut it down at night. That motor was running all the time underneath the surface. It was an exhausting character to play. I got to be in a room with a bunch of misogynistic people that were in prison at the time, in a psychotherapy group. They were doing a test, and I knew the doctors involved. And they let me sit in, and I saw some of the damage done to some of these guys that were misogynistic, like rapists and stuff. One guy, his mother had poured boiling hot water on his genitalia when he was 12 because he was caught playing with himself. Another one, his father had cut the end of his penis off with a pair of garden shears.
Why does it always got to be the penis?
Well, because of the sexuality of what they were doing. They were frightened or incapable of, or they were damaged by children, and they passed it on. Their children passed it on. And so I got there, and I tried to build Cold Hawker from that point forward, of somebody who was damaged and broken. And don't ever want to do that again. If you've never seen Visiting Hours, it still holds up, but that character was...
Now, you've heard stories about that too, about some actors not getting lost in the role, but like after finishing, it's kind of hard.
Not lost in the role. It's kind of like if you eat the same dish day after day after day on a film. It's like 36 days of shooting. It's like you can't help it. If you're eating turkey every day, 24 hours a day, you're going to get the smell of turkey on you.
Yeah.
You don't really get to shower it off, because it's constantly there. And we were shooting 6 day weeks, so it's a good film. It's a good, solid film. It still works.
But it's a hard character to come back from.
It's an exhausting character and a sadness to it. There was a sadness to it. But those characters, I try and pick things that I haven't done before that's going to make me reach. Oh, there's a film out there called Pumpkin Everything that I did for Hallmark a couple of years back. I get sent the script from Hallmark, and I'm reading it and I'm going, I don't know, this grandfather who can't do it, he owns a pumpkin confectionery, everything's pumpkin, and it's all around Thanksgiving. And I'm reading, my wife reads everything too without getting it. And she goes, what's going on? I said, I don't know about that. I don't identify with this character. And she goes, okay. And so she reads it and she goes, hey, let's go to dinner. I went, great, because I was writing, I was doing a rewrite. I do that too, I do rewrites. And I said, oh, great. So we go out to dinner and she waits till we're in the restaurant, crowded with people, and she goes, so that script, Pumpkin Everything. I said, yeah. She goes, what are you afraid of? And now I'm caught with my pants down in public, and it's like,
uh-oh.
I said, that's a good question. I said, I don't know how to play this character. I don't know how to make him real. I don't. He's ineffectual. He has no weapons. He has no way of defending himself. He's emotionally kind of dependent on a past. And she says, maybe that's the reason to do it.
Out of your comfort zone a little bit.
Not only covers it, no, but a spectrum of color I've never been off. Never had the opportunity.
Two colors you've never mixed, basically.
2 or 3 or 4 maybe,
okay,
you know.
Okay.
And I don't know. So we finished dinner and went home, and I reread it, and I went, all right, I'll think about it. And the offer came in the next morning, and she pulled up our emails, and I was reading the emails. She reads over my shoulder, and the money came across, the offer. My wife turned to me and says, you're doing it. You say yes right now.
Yeah, click, 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 click.
But we did, and it was a wonderful, and I ended up playing a version of my father, which was really kind of cool. If you get a chance, it's on Hallmark. It's called Pumpkin Everything. Playing this grandfather character. The interesting thing, my dad's been dead for about 24 years now. Wow, 25 years. And when it aired the first time, my sister called me at that time she was in Ottawa. She calls me in Los Angeles. She goes, I just saw that pumpkin thing. And I said, yeah. And we started whispering on the phone. She goes, you were playing Dad. And I went, yeah, how was it? She goes, oh yeah, that was like Dad.
Yeah.
And like that. Grown-ups whispering in the night. Yeah. Because my dad's been bad.
Yeah.
But that's kind of answers your question about characters and stuff. If you build, I try and build them as organically possible as I possibly can, from my experiences, or from, for example, there's a certain amount of emotions I use that I know I can go to that. I can go to that incident in my past. It will ignite a certain amount of an emotional response. I was doing a scene in something once, about 10 years ago, 12 years ago, maybe longer. And it's this thing about my mom that I always go through that causes an emotional reaction. And I thought, I got something for this, And we get to that point in the script, and then we're shooting, and I had everything else set up except this thing, and I could do it. I go to do it, and I'm reaching for something, and it's not there emotionally. And I'm going, holy fuck, what's going on? It was almost like falling. It was this weird kind of emotion. And the director goes, he said, you all right? And I said, give me a moment. And I went back and I tried to do a kind of a sense memory on it, and it was resolved. It was gone. It was like, I'd used it so many times, it was like therapy. It was gone. So I used the death of our dog in the scene.
As like a conduit, almost like a conduit of emotion.
As a whatever that creates the light, But excuse me. I just got over 4.5 years of cancer. And
what?
Yeah. It's a long story, but I never talked about it before because your phone will stop ringing. No, I'm totally in remission, and it's all great and stuff like that. But I left my throat kind of dry. But there's this thing called follicle lymphoma. For you people out there that have cancer,
He's a nurse, so he knows medical terms.
yeah, they have me on Rituxan for 4.5 years. Anyway, I used Harley, the death for a dog. It created the light that was needed and the emotion I've seen it work. But it was a good experience that I can't take things for granted. Things I've used in the past, different episodes and stuff that I've always got to keep something fresh. Keep my emotional paint box fresh and available and stuff like that. And I don't know, that sort of answers your question.
Where you're talking about the stained glass and the light coming through and where all the things are set up and you're coming through and someone tells you less or more, would that have changed your approach to like Sam Fisher? Or is it like a bit of a different...
Sam's a completely different deal.
Yeah.
Do you guys know Splinter Cell?
He played center. I unfortunately, it was it's a blind spot for me in gaming growing up, but
Because that's like a role that you've done 8, 9 times now across
Yeah, five, six, I don't know.
It's just other games too. Like
It's
this
done now. Ubisoft sold the rights to it to Netflix, I think, and Netflix.
So they're working on something. I think it's an
Well,
anime.
they did the anime, and then they've done a live action with Liev Schreiber playing Sam. I think they shot
yeah,
it.
I can see that.
That's a really good choice.
Yeah.
I'm 76 years old. I'm too old to be fucking wandering around being this killing machine. And
Eyes in the shadows, 3 lights. Yeah.
yeah, but no, I was doing something in Montreal, and Ubisoft came to me. This was years, a long time ago, and my agent called and they said, "We got an offer here for you to do a video game." I knew nothing about video games. I thought it was like Pong, you know. Beep, beep.
I can make that
hey,
noise.
if they called you to do the sound effects, you'd have got the job.
And so I said, "Yeah, it's a lot of money. I'll talk to them, sure." And
Sure.
I'll talk to them. And they sent me the script, and it was horrible.
Really?
Ubisoft at that time was 5 owners. They had like a floor and a half in a factory in the plateau in Montreal, Saint Laurent. And the one guy was really approachable, Stefan. And I said, I don't want to do this. It's crap. I mean, it's really like techno geek language. Unhindered and backslide, that sort of thing, you know. And they said, "Oh," and I said, "Thanks very much," and like that. A lot of money, but I don't know how to make this real. And they said, "Well, what would you do different?"
Yeah.
And they said, the acting and all this and the character, it's only about 10% of the game. The rest is all technical. So,
Yeah.
And we need help. And I went,
Okay.
all right, give me. I got 2 days off. So I went through and I kind of changed some stuff. And I got together, and they let me do that. They let me change the character,
Very
help,
cool.
let me help cast it. There was a young French guy come in to direct it and stuff. And because as you do in the game and stuff, you're not all going to be in the sound studio at the same time. We're basically in sound boxes. So we built a relationship with the actors who want to do it, and we did the first game. It kicked off, and that relationships to the character built and built and built.
Well, that story makes me think that you have a lot more of an emotional tie to that character because you had a hand in
And that's what,
creating a final product, so to speak.
well, Sam, I told him if this is success, we've got to build into the character a character that can't give affection and can't accept affection. He has to have a huge upheaval, emotional upheaval in his life, like a loss of his wife and children or something, where he becomes. And there's a great line that I used. I use it in Extreme Prejudice. They cut it out, but it was like the character Sam is like a gun that's been fired so many times it starts to fire on its own.
Yes, I remember hearing about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's just been through with the ringer so many times that he just starts
He's just
spouting off.
and he became a kind of a metaphor for a lot of political situations and a lot of military situations that are going on about the inhumanity of it. And there's that great line at the end of Black Hawk Down when the guy comes in and he starts reloading at the table. And the guy says, "You're going back out?" And he goes, "Yeah."
Yeah.
And he says something like, "What?" He says, "You wouldn't understand."
Right, because it's like a.
He looks at him like,
Holy crap.
and I understood what he was doing. The guy, that character said, "A gun is just a piece. A gun's a lousy hammer if it's not used as a weapon."
Right.
You know, a sword is just a ridiculous, utensil unless you're cutting something. with it.
Yeah.
And that's what the guy said. That's what I do.
Yeah, that's what I do. I remember. Now that you mentioned that, I remember. That
And I understood that, and that's very much like Sam.
Yeah.
Without that career, without the option to be able to use your skills, you're useless.
Right.
You're useless. It's like a race car without a driver and no fuel. It's just a hunk of metal.
Right.
It's not even interesting or comfortable.
Yeah.
And it's painted kind of fucked up.
That's the way to look at it.
So that Sam became that. And it's how that family dynamic goes. And my wife turned to me when it was over, we were walking out, and she goes, "That is so close to our family with you." And I had to look at it like, am I that inflexible or that kind of self-centered or so? And she said, well, it all depends on how you look at it. But, those are worth seeing. But I would see Train Dreams, wonderful visually told story with a heart in it. And it's kind of a political, ecological comment on what's going on in the world right now. So,
well, hopefully, we're going to see you in the third season of The Pit. Would you do it? Do you think you would do that? Have you watched any of The Pit with Nolan?
I've watched a little bit of The Pit. I think he's doing a wonderful job. I don't know. I'd have to see the material. I really don't know. It's. I tell you one thing. I'm kind of excited. Looks like I'm going. Do you know who Oliver? Aleister Crowley is?
Like in terms of history? Vaguely.
Mystic,
Yes.
overweight, turn of the century, author, poet, journalist, was part of the 101, where all the sci-fi storytellers, the Aldous Huxleys and A.J. Vaught, and they all met twice a year up in Scotland to talk about stuff. My grandfather knew them, so I knew about Aleister as a kid. He was a sorcerer. They always made kind of fun of him. You'll see pictures of him with a triangular hat on and a pyramid with an eye, and him doing crazy things. He was made a bit of a fool of on purpose because he was a spy for the British during the First World War, and then kind of ingratiated himself with the Germans and the Italians and stuff. But anyway, I'm going to get to play Aleister Crowley later this fall in a film called Hunting the Wizards, shooting in Malta, Venice, and Sicily. The script is going through another rewrite right now. As far as I know, they got 70% of the financing. They're going to see what happens at Cannes when they get the rest of the financing. That I'm excited about.
Okay.
That would be fun. And it's basically about after Crowley died, they don't know really where he is, but he lives in the netherworld. And how he's helping people. My grandfather once told me about Crowley. I said, of the 101, all these authors and writers got together to discuss things. And I said, who was really, like he told me about the author of Dune and stuff like that, and Heinlein and different people and stuff. He said, Crowley was interesting. I said, what way? He said, he could leave the room without using windows and doors. And I went, what? And he says, I can't explain it. He was a prankster and a trickster and a bit of a magician. But my grandfather was a very smart man. Fiddly Ironside, Jock Ironside. And he said, yeah, Aleister was the only one that made me uncomfortable. So I know a little bit of Aleister Crowley. It'd be great to be able to bring that.
You can dig deep there. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, thank you for this.
No,
this is
Michael,
great.
if I may,
Thank you.
it's been a pleasure to meet you. I can call you Michael, Mr. Ironside, what do you prefer?
Mr. Ironside, my dad. I just like.
All right.
Can I call you Fred?
You can call me Fred.
It's been an
Gotta sign the check, though.
Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure, and although I know you said a couple times you felt that you kept talking, we were enthralled the whole time. Me
this
and
is
Peter were
great.
just looking at each other being like, is this real life right now? It's been a pleasure to have you on the channel with us.
With us.
What? Yeah, with us.
Well,
you
we
know.
can't get off the phone here without talking about Gordon Pinsett.
But of course, you're going to have to go back.
How about
to
Gordon Pinsett? Do you know who Gordon Pinsett is?
I know. Yep.
You
the
don't
singer?
know.
No.
Oh,
Well,
Jesus
technically,
Christ.
yes.
Lord Thunder and
What?
Jesus, by I'll be sending you home from Newfoundland with more than a gentle reminder what the fucking rock's all about. You're one plank short of a skiff.
Oh, whoa.
You gotta smoke this. That's
Seriously,
Gordon
not know who Gordon
Pinsett.
Pinsett is?
No.
Oh, he's an actor from...
You ever seen the movie called The Rowdy Man? Check out The Rowdy Man. He
Good.
wrote it,
You
produced
heard
it,
it there
directed
first.
it. It's on there. It's an old film. It's hard to get a hold of, but it's about Newfoundland.
Okay, all right.
It's about
I'm going
Gordon.
to put that on the list. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you want to support the channel, we do appreciate if you would just take 1 second to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. If you have any questions for Michael, put them in the chat. We'll try to get them over to you.
Questions from Michael. No
I see what
way.
you're doing. But with that, I am the real Jussy.
I'm Peter Parkour, and like we always say around here,
Keep it real.